My name is Nicholas Ngige.
My name is Sebastian.
I am Hanabi. I'm Grace Marianganga.
I'm Ruth Dias Stevenson.
Jen Magadi.
Smuka Dewa.
Christina Vivid.
Safi Uzaye.
Jaja Uzaye.
Agatha Kinethia.
Faiza.
Dr. John Mwangi.
My name is DeAndrea Weeks, and I am with Virginia for Africa.
I am with Nintendo for Africa.
I am with Nintendo for Africa. And I am with
Nintendo for Africa.
I am with
I'm with
Nintendo for Africa. Zelly will walk us through. I think it's more of the experience, her experience also as an immigrant who has also transitioned to different ventures. She wears many hats. But I think she has also been very helpful in real estate, which I also see that we have another new real estate person in the forum also. Solomon Nguitui is also a new person in real estate. So we're so grateful that we have so many people in that area. But I think Zelly will touch a little bit about home renting, and also the people after 1 year or two, many of you would want to start buying your own home. There are things that you would do now that will matter 1 year from now or 2 years from now. So the earlier you get that information, the better. But I think also having more information about renting and about your what is required, how you take your own house. If you mess up, there are things that will kind of haunt you. I'm sure she has more details about that, and I'll let you, Zellipah, to go through, to walk us through.
All right, well, thank you so much, Jeffrey, for the opportunity. I want to take something I would have, the format was very good that Sebastian was talking about taxes and your records before the real estate. And I'm gonna just take a couple of statements there about getting your records in records and getting your records clear when you are an immigrant. For those of you who have children, when my son was young, we went to these places where you go for rides. And they have this ride is for this height. You have to be this tall or this age. And some kids say, "Mommy, can I say I'm 13 when I'm 12?" And then they get by because maybe the height is above. And then when they get now to 20, the rides will be, "Oh, this ride is only for 18. Oh, Mommy, can I say now I'm 18? That is America for you. What you say when you are 16, or what you say when you're in this country, when you come in, is going to haunt you 30, 50 years later. So there will be no opportunity that I was a kid then, I did not know. So that's my piece of advice, that whatever record you put today is what's going to haunt you in the future. If you come in married and you want to say you're not married for tax benefits or so you can get more money in your paycheck, it's going to haunt you down the line. So I just wanted to carry that from Sebastian, and when he comes back, he'll say more about getting your records in records. I'm also going to talk about what Jane Magoti mentioned about when you're new in this country. And even one piece of advice myself, as Zellipah, and this is where Zelly Talks come in, is know yourself and get your identity clear from the very, very beginning. Remember the people we come from, Kenya, from Africa, from Asia, from wherever you come from. Your neighbors also came here. Your learned friends came here. Your street people came here. We all come here and meet here. And we make us feel like we are one just because I met you on the streets and you're from my home country. We speak the same language. I make you feel like now we belong. But we have an identity that kind of fades away when we come to the US because you're struggling to identify yourself. You came in as a professor, or you came in as you're selling bananas on the streets, and now that identity is not known here, and we struggle. If there's anything that I would tell somebody today, having gone through my own personal experiences, is get your identity clear and identify yourself how people want to see you, how you want to be seen by people. before you get into groups, because there's a tendency of groups in the US to classify you and give you a new identity. So if you don't know yourself properly, then you belong to that group, be identified with that group, and you lose your own identity. And by the time you try to gain it later, it is a challenge. So get yourself your identity clear and what brought you here, because what brought you here is not what brought me here. As I'm speaking to you, I am 22 years in the country, and I only came here for 2 years. When I left home, I told them I'm coming for 2 years, finish my master's, come back home. I had a good life. 22 years later, I'm still here. So anyway, let me go to what Masai asked me to talk about. I could go on and on that. I'm sorry, but
actually, Zellipah, is that that is the information you're sharing is very important, because it is more actually connected to what you're just about to say.
So anyway, so you have got a job, you are being deducted properly, you're paying taxes, and you've been housed by Jane Magoti or Solomon Nguitui because you're new in the country, you came and you found a relative and a friend to house you. Do not overstay your visit there. Get your own place. Because getting your own place means probably you go to an apartment, and now they start reporting your records. They start reporting, are you paying on time? Get your own bills. You have Amaran gas and water bill and electricity. Get some on your name. Even if you're being housed by a relative, please beg that they put some of the bills on your name. Beg, like ask. Because if you don't have any records in a year in this country, you are considered just like somebody who is new. So why we want you to have have your names and that you're paying your bills on time is that when you decide to buy a house, there's a history of your payment. So to qualify to buy a house, you need a good credit history. Currently, it is 640 and above, and also enough credit. There's a difference between good and enough. If you are new in the country today, like I see some of my friends, I see Leo and I see my friend from Boy from North Carolina. If you are new in the country and your credit is pulled today, there are two things. They make sure that it's good, and it's going to be good because you have none. So, but it doesn't qualify you to buy a house because it needs to be good and enough. Enough means you have taken something on debt. Having debt is good. And it's not the debt that you go from to your neighbors and borrow $20. No, this is recorded credit, recorded debt that you went to the bank, or you went to a furniture store, or you went to Best Buy and bought a laptop. And as you make the payment, they are making they're reporting that the credit bureau that you're making your payments on time. On time is important and as required. But before you even get to buy a house, you have rented for a period of time. Renting means that somebody owns the house and you're paying them rent. Some of that rent is recorded as you pay. As if you come and rent one of my houses, or Masai's one houses, or Sebastian, or whoever is here, unless you ask me to report, I do not necessarily report. And I do have people asking, can you report? And I will have it reported to the credit bureau that you are renting from Githui LLC and that your credit is being reported. If you don't ask for it to be reported, it's not necessarily reported. If you go to bigger apartment complexes, they will report automatically and you don't have a choice of it not being reported. Now, the problem is that when you come from Kenya, from Africa, sorry, you have to keep thinking it's not only Kenyans who are here. When you come in as an immigrant, and most of us coming from that world countries, we rent from landlords that we know, and they can come for money anytime, and you agree, oh, I don't have money, I wasn't paid, my child was sick. Here, nobody really cares whether you were not paid or not. They care that you signed a document that Sebastian was talking about, records. You signed a document and say that you'll be paying your rent between the 1st and the 5th. and the records are going to be reported after the 5th that you did or did not pay on time. And that record will carry on for a very long time. So make sure you pay your rent on time, rent, and ask that whoever you rent from report to the credit bureau that you're renting for this amount of time, and that every time you pay, it shows that you paid on time. Then once you have a payment history, good payment history, and you have built your credit, and the first way to build your good credit is going to your bank and ask for unpaid, unsecured, you ask for secured credit card where you give them your amount of money, mainly like $500, maximum $1,000, and then they give you a credit card because they have security of your $500 of your $1,000. And then as you pay over a period of time, they list your collateral and or your deposit, and now your credit starts building. So that is the easiest thing. And I usually say, try and get in that credit as soon as you get your first job, maybe 2-3 paychecks, maybe not more than 3 months after your job. Get in as early as possible so you start building your credit early enough. So you've rented, good rental history, you have got good payment of your bills, you have got good credit, you built enough credit, and then now you want to buy a house. At that point, if you want to become a realtor, is a good thing. I always say, if I knew what I know today, I would have become a realtor the first year that I was here. Because being a realtor does not necessarily mean that you're out showing houses and selling houses. It means that you can actually get a house for yourself. So I always say, let's have as many people become realtors as there are truck drivers or as there are homeowners. I mean, I'll be happy to help you become a realtor tomorrow. So then now when you're ready, you come and get a hold of me or Solomon Nguitui, and we help you find a house, and then you become a homeowner. So today I'm here to announce for you that there is a program that is very good and is underutilized by us immigrants. And that is called the NACA program. The Neighborhood Association Corporation of America is a program historically was used to help people with bad credit and low income to own homes. Today, it is a program that is open to all. And as a new immigrant, I'll tell you, register tomorrow, and I'm working with a couple of families that just came in, I think maybe about 8 months ago. They're in the program already. It walks you through a process of 6 months to a year of financial training and home ownership. And when you qualify, the program requires no down payment, no closing costs, no points and fees, and you get below market price on interest rates. Right now, it's somewhere between at the 1.25 on interest rate. The program takes about a year, 6 months to a year. If you're new immigrants, it probably take a year, but when you just write about the year, you will qualify for a house at a place or amount of a house in a good neighborhood that you otherwise wouldn't have qualified if you went for the regular financing, which is conventional and FHA. So since this session is for new immigrants, I will not talk very much about the actual process of buying the house, because we can talk when you come to talk to me or to Solomon personally. But I would say the first thing is get your credit in order. First of all, get a job, pay your bills on time, get your credit in order, and own a home as soon as you possibly can, about maybe second or third year. And I think I'll hang around for questions, and I'm also I'm here for any questions specifically pertaining to financing, pertaining to owning a home again, or just life in general. Thank you, Masai.
Thank you so much, Zellipah. That is very, very helpful information. And I think I agree with you. A lot of things people always say that I wish I had known that information when I was very new, because some of them, when they come to say they want to buy home, they are realizing that they made some mistakes. Or maybe there are some steps they're taking, kicking in a little bit late. But I think it's a great time if you're here, being here for very briefly for those who just came, but also those who've been here for a while. I think the information is still valid, even for those who've been here for a long time, and also for the young people who are also graduating. You also need that information as you start your new life. And I think, like Zellipah said, just keep your record straight. Make sure that you also ask as many questions as you can. I'm sure they're gonna put their contacts on the chat, and also so you can reach out to Zali or Solomon. I believe is very new. And Solomon, I will let you say hi to people and maybe share a little bit about why you decide to go to real estate, and maybe if you have any advice you want to share with the people. I'm sure they will listen to you more than anybody else.
Thank you, Jeff, and thank you everyone for this meeting. I think if there's anything that I'm grateful for is such a forum, because there are people who are like in deep sea, have no idea what is going on in America. But the moment you land in a place where you are able to get this kind of information, like the way Zeri has spoken, a lot of that information is both for all. You get that information after you make a mistake. But this is a golden opportunity for those of us who are new to get this kind of information early enough, first to prepare and also to prevent us from making. First, it's good to say that I'm basically new in this country. I've just been here for a year, but I came with my experience back in Kenya and decided to go to real estate because that is what I was doing back in Kenya. But I can assure you that it's totally different here. I would say, as has said, it's good to know a lot of this information. To know is to work with a realtor. You will avoid a lot of pitfalls, and also you get a lot of information that they have got over time. I do not want to repeat a lot of information because it has been said by Zellipah, but I would say this. Surprisingly so, and maybe you have known, for those who have been here for now 1 year and below, you might have noted that it costs actually it is cheaper to own a house in America than to rent. Rent will go for $1,200, $1,300 for a 3-bedroom standard house. But mortgage will be less, maybe $1,000. It really doesn't make sense anyone from Nairobi because it is the other way around. That means this country has made it possible that anyone can own a house, and actually prevented all the brokers and everyone in the middle to make houses expensive in this country. So as you get in this forum, you have no excuse for not owning a house. There are 2 reasons why you should have a house. If you're moving or you are here for a year, 2, 3, maybe you want to go back to Africa, there are 2 things you should own a house. One, you build something called equity. Anyone who bought a house worth 100,000 5 years ago, paying the same amount of rent, amount of mortgage as that person would have been paying for rent, but now probably the worth of the house is 150,000. So they have a 50,000 equity built up over a very short period of time because of the market dynamics. Yet they are paying the same amount of money they would have been paying for rent. Please, people realize this in their 5th, 6th, 7th year, because I've been sitting down with people as I market myself. So instead of realizing that 8 years or 5 years down the line, please get a house as early as now. And Zellipah has spoken a lot concerning the qualification. Basically, you need credit, you need to pay your own time, and you need to get a job, and somehow your record should be straight. Otherwise, thank you very much. My name is Solomon, the realtor, and I'm ready to work with anyone who would want to walk this journey. Thank you very much, Jeff, and everyone else.
Thank you, Buena Salman. You actually spoke like somebody who's been here for a long time. You have a lot of information. That is very, very, very helpful. I'm really impressed by the tips that you have actually shared. It's very important. And Sebastian will be able to share a little bit about when you start getting job. There's some forms you fill out for the employment. There's some forms you fill out for the insurance. There's also a lot about taxes. Right now, everybody is filing taxes for the last year. Those who came last year, there are some questions they may not know about the taxes, but also some of the common mistakes that people make. We wanted to maybe he can be able to highlight to make sure that you don't make the same mistakes that everybody else has done in the past. So if you are there, Sebastian, I will let you to take over.
Thank you, Geoffrey. It's been highlighted by the people who spoke before this is when we get into this country, it's always important to know where you get your information. And I think somebody mentioned that. It's where do you get your information? It's also what we call a document country. I mean, everything is paperwork, but it's also very good to remember that it's a very litigious. It's litigious. Everything is about court being sued. Are you saying the truth? Are you information you have given us is correct? That is mostly what you'll be getting most of the time. And I think that's one challenge that a lot of people get when you get into this country, that this country, when you go to the background and how it was built from the beginning, it's built on trust. And that always becomes a big challenge to a lot of immigrants because we come from a background where everything had to be verified. Everything had to be completely verified. And that is changing in this country too. And I don't know whether this is changing also because we have also had a lot of people coming to this country. This country was purely built on trust. You know, when I ask you, is this what you have? I trust what you tell me and I go with what you tell me. Now, what we don't understand most of the time is that being a documentation country, it's all this information at some point do integrate, you know, and it doesn't matter whether it's 20 years from now or 30 years from now. That's when you find everybody coming back to you because of something you did 15 years ago. Unlike our country where that's why they verify when you come because they don't know whether they will ever be able to catch that information ever again. So that is why this country is very important, the information that you give. But unfortunately, the places that we tend to fall into is we source our information from the wrong places, which becomes a little bit difficult for you to kind of put yourself right in terms of process, in terms of documentation, which actually ends up being historical documentation. Why is this important? To align with what I'm talking about is that the biggest difference when you come here is about taxation in this country is how you do your taxes. You've seen a lot of people who, you know, the government either went after them 30, 40 years from, you know, the time they were 20, just based on how they filed their taxes before. So the first thing here when you get employed, when you get a job, when you walk into a place and they hire you and they say that, you know, you're a full-time employee, so, you know, they'll give you what we call a W-2. So if they will give you a W-2, they normally would give you a form we call a W-4. A W-4 is the first form the employer gives you. This is an IRS document that tells the employer how they will deduct your wages, you know, based on your situation. This country has what we call progressive taxes. Progressive taxes means that we deduct you based on the amount of money you make. And it's all in brackets. The higher you make, the more you pay, which to me is a fair system, you know, because you have to pull people up from, you know, it's not always, it doesn't work the way the founding father intended it to work. But the concept is okay. It's the more money you make, the more taxes you pay. But then you also get your credit based on the risk that you have taken either because of your business or whatever you do. So the first form you get when you get a job is called a W-4. A W-4 basically tells your employer that based on my situation and my family and the number of people that I have in my household and the struggles that I go through, this is how much I would like you to deduct from my wages. And then you instruct them in that form. They'll ask you, are you married? Are you single? How many children do you have? Then you give them that information. The employer takes that information, and when they pay you every week, every 2 weeks or monthly, if that's how they pay you, then they deduct you based on what you told them that you have. So that information is purely what you tell them. It's not verified by the employer. It's purely what you tell them. If you're married and you say you are single, that's what they'll take. If you're single and you say you're married, that's what they take. Now, towards the end of the year, your employer completes what they call a W-2 and they send it to you. The copy they send to you, they also send it to the IRS and they tell them, hey, Geoffrey worked for me. Geoffrey explained that he has this kind of situation. So this is how much I deducted from Geoffrey, and this is how much I sent you, the IRS. This is how much I deducted from Geoffrey. They come to Geoffrey and they tell Geoffrey, because we have to reconcile what you told your employer and what your actual real situation in life is, can you please complete your taxes? So that's when now you hear people saying, I'm doing my taxes. It's a reconciliation, truly. That's what it is. When somebody tells you that I'm doing my taxes, it's just a reconciliation so that the government can weigh and see that based on the situation that you told your employer you are in, and based in your real life situation, should we add you money or would you give us more money because your life was very favorable or very unfavorable? So that's when we complete the taxes through a form called a 1040. And based on your situation, it could be a 1040 easy, 1040E, 1040, whatever kind of form it is, amended. And now when you complete your 1040, it gives you a real life situation. They'll ask you, okay, are you married? Yes. When you say yes, now they ask you, who are you married to? So this is now where the truth comes in. So in your taxes, now you have to feel that I'm married to so-and-so. That gives you a higher credit, because you are two people. So the income, they give you a higher credit. They'll give you, for now, the standard deduction is 12,500. So if you're two people, you already get, you get about 26,000 from the beginning. That money that will not be taxed at all, based on your situation. So once you reconcile that taxes, they ask you, do you have children? Yes. Then you list the children, and the way we identify people is very easy. Everybody knows that here. We identify people by a social security number. Everybody who is born here has to be given a social security number. Everybody who has come to this country and is allowed to work and is allowed to do, you are given a social security number. Everybody who is accountable into this country is in our system in any shape or form is given a social security number. That security number now also shows on the IRS website whether it is allowed to work or it's not allowed. That's when we have the E-Verify. We never used to have those things before. When we came into this country, there was nothing like E-Verify. All they did is ask you, are you allowed to work? You say yes, that's it. But now, as things have changed, and I guess a few people came into the system where you could not just go with the word of mouth and trust. So they brought the E-Verify. So the E-Verify is reconciled with the social security. And once they look at the social, they see, okay, this social has no restriction in terms of how you should work. So once they do that, now your taxes are reconciled. And at that point now, whoever does your taxes, I always recommend when you're doing your taxes, please make sure that it's somebody who knows what they're doing. We have a lot of softwares out there that are very easy to follow. But I always say, even if you use those softwares, have somebody just check it for you. Somebody who knows the ins and outs of these taxes, because these things can be very dangerous. It can even put you in a very tough situation if you don't know what you're doing. So have somebody check it for you just to verify that that information is correct. If you have children who have special needs, if you have other things that pertains to that, then they're able to give you credit based on your life situation. And at that point now, the government determines that based in the real life situation that you have represented and the amount of money that we deducted from you, and this is just the federal deduction and the state deduction. It has nothing to do with Medicaid. I hear people saying, well, these people deducted a lot of money from me, but they're talking about Medicaid and all that other stuff. That has nothing to do with the taxes. It's just the federal tax deductions and the state deduction. So now they reconcile and they say, we are so sorry. We see that your situation was not very favorable to you and we deducted a lot of money, so we are giving you back this much money. Or they find out and say, Geoffrey, from what you had told us, I don't think that's how your life should have been with your business and the things you do. We need some more money from you, so you're paying us back 6,000. Then at that point, you're given up to April 15th to either to pay what you owe. If you do not owe, there is no deadline for you. And I hear a lot of people saying, I have to file taxes by the 15th. If the government owes you, normally the April 15th is not, it has really no implication to you. What has implication to you is after 3 years, you cannot file again, to get a credit back for the 3 years that have passed. But if the government does owe you, April 15th has no implication to you. It has implication to people who owe the government, because after that date, then there's a penalty that is accrued on what you owe the government, and you have to pay that. So after that reconciliation, then you're given your money, whatever you owe or whatever you give the government, you're reconciled by April 15th. Now, if you do not do a W-2 basically means that your employer sent you a document showing you how much they deducted from you and sent to the government and how much they didn't deduct or deducted, then you get what we call a simple 1099. A 1099 means that whoever hired you said, hey, I am not going to deal with your tax life. I'm not going to deal with your tax implications. This is how much I pay you. I pay you $15 an hour. I'll give you everything. At the end of the year, you reconcile with the government. And this is where now you tell the government that based on how much money that I earned, these were the cost of doing that business. And then you deduct the cost of doing that business based on the forms that they have put in there, because they'll ask you those questions. And after reconciliation, they'll either say, most of the time you made a loss. So you can carry that loss forward for up to 3 years, still claiming it for up to 3 years. And that is a 1099. Maybe you're doing Uber or whatever, all these things that you book, DoorDash, all that stuff. That is normally when you get a 1099 because your employer did not deduct anything from you at all. It is your responsibility to reconcile your cost with the IRS. And now the IRS will ask you what was the cost of your doing business. It's also stated there. You show them your cost of doing your business, and then that is reconciled. Again, I recommend that you have began by saying, and I think Zellipah alluded to that, and I think somebody else has alluded into that, this is a records country. It's records of records. Whatever you tell us today goes into documentation, and this information will later in your life be reconciled with another information 10 years from now. And I think I was waiting for Zellipah to finish with the fact that this being a country where it's purely built on trust, the information you also pass to your kids is also very important. So when your kid tells you, the one we are going here is for 16-year-olds, can I say I'm 12? Or can I say I'm 18? If your answer is yes, then you have to know at what point do you stop now lying and tell them, no, it's not okay to say you're 18 when you're 16. Those things come to catch them way later when they pull up the records and say, we have other records that showing you're 18, but you're saying you're 17. And now let's see your documentation. And I think that's where everybody gets caught up in this country, when they now say, okay, now bring the documentation to prove that what you're telling us is true. And I began by telling you that this country was initially purely built on trust. We take what you tell us is what we take, until they came to a point where they realized not everybody was as honest as they wanted to be. So at the beginning, I said we have a W-4. This is what you complete with your employer. You tell them your situation, your life situation. And then based on the information you give your employer, that's how they deduct you on your wages. At the end of the year, the employer sends you a form, they call it a W-2, and they send a copy of that to the IRS, Internal Revenue Services. And they tell the Internal Revenue Services that Zellipah told us this is her life situation, so this is what we deducted from her. Please reconcile with her. Now they come back to you and they give you what we call a reconciliation, is what we call filing taxes. You do the 1040. The 1040 says, this is my life situation, and this is what the government deducted me, or my employer deducted me. After reconciliation, we decide who owes who, whether the government owes you or you owe the government. Now, after that, that's when you get your money back, or you pay the government what you owe them. After the 1040, you get your check back, either through direct deposit or whatever format you ask them to do. Now, if you do not go that format, maybe you are a small business or you have your own business that you run on the side, then you do a 1099. A 1099 basically means that there were no deductions at all from your employer. So it is you who will handle that part with the IRS. And at that point, you show them your expenses for doing the businesses, and they tell you what's allowed, what's not allowed. And then based on what you have, they either you get them, you pay what you owe, or you carry forward your losses. And I said you can carry that up to 3 years. A lot of people who have small businesses, they really help you with your tax implication. And that's why I also insist you have to do the 401k. If you have an employer who matches your 401k, I have never understood even today why somebody does not do 401k, even at least 2%, because that also is tax deductible. It reduces your income. And bearing in mind, this is the only way sometimes we have to save for our retirement. If you don't do any other business, I recommend you do 401k, and I can talk so much. That's my strength, 401k and IRAs. That's the strength. That's my strength more when it comes to these money matters. So after reconciliation, the government shows you what you owe. It's very important to know especially if you have grown kids who are in college. I mean, please do not let them file their taxes by their own without you getting to see it, because we lose a lot of money in that, because sometimes they still qualify if we claim them, based on the amount of money we paid. But sometimes when they file on their own and they have not made any money, we lose a lot of money that would have otherwise been deducted from our money as a credit, simply because they did not make enough money. Always include them in your taxes unless you think they have made enough money to be on their own. And given the Affordable Care Act right now, where you can cover them, up to 26 years, the government allows that to do. Always make sure you utilize them all the way to the end, especially if you're paying their tuition, where you still have a say in their life. That is very important for you to do. I think they mentioned about credit, and we mentioned about people getting their information correct. If you're renting from somebody and you ask them to report your credit, please remember it's two-way. You cannot only ask them to report when you pay on time. They'll also report when you don't pay on time. And I've seen that's why a lot of Kenyans don't want you to report your taxes, because they want to call you and tell you I'll pay you on the 10th. But if you want it reported, it has to be reported across the board. You did not pay on time, it's reported. You paid on time, it is reported. That is very important. I think that's where they alluded to the two forms of taxes, credit report, the FICO and your credit history to show what you have paid. On your taxes, it's not always a good thing to get a refund. And I have told people this before. It is very dangerous when you see yourself getting a refund. Something is not right, because basically what it means is either there's what we call time value of money. This is financial a little bit, that $1 today is not going to be the same a year from now. The one I get a year from now is less. So it's always good to reconcile your taxes to make sure that you're Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me? Okay. It's always important to make sure that you're getting the right credit for yourself, right? So if you're getting a refund, something is not very right with you, unless you don't trust yourself in the savings on how you can keep your money. And the W4 can be done as many times in a year as much as you want. I always give people a piece of advice. In July or August, do a W4, a reconciliation of your taxes, and ask yourself, at this time, if I did the taxes, would I owe the government, or would the government owe me? If you find out that you would owe the government, or the government owe you, make adjustments on your W2 or on your income. Tell your employer, hey, stop cutting me this much money. I want to get a bigger paycheck. Personally, I believe in getting a bigger paycheck as opposed to waiting for the IRS to give me my money back at the end of the year without interest. Because basically what you're doing is you're playing merry-go-round with the IRS. They hold your money, then they give it to you at the end of the year. If you trust yourself in the things you do, I always say you're better off not getting any tax refund, but getting a bigger paycheck when you get your money, as opposed to having the IRS hold your money. When you get 5, 6, 7,000, 4,000 in your taxes, something is wrong. You are in the very low bracket of life, and something is not working right with you. You need to figure out something is wrong. If you hear somebody saying, I am scared of April 14th because I don't know what the government will do, that person is doing well. That's why people like, I don't want to mention names here, but there are people here who don't like the April 15th. Because when you do the taxes, most likely you're paying the government. It means you have gone, I told you we have what we call progressive taxes in this country. The more you make, the more you pay. So we have tax brackets. So when you get into this bracket, there's this deduction that is made. It is not a good thing to get a big refund. People, it is not a good thing at all. It just shows you that there is a lot of things that are not right with yourself. And especially for people like us who didn't come to stay here for long. I was like Zellipah said, I was just coming here for 5 years. And after my master's, I go home and I'm still going. So after 5 years, I'll probably be going home when I finish that. But I think we are now heading to 20 some years. So the truth has hit me that I'm not going anywhere. So most of the investment you've done is here. So stop spreading your money, because the tax implication now has also reached that end of other countries. They have now made it mandatory. US has made it mandatory that whatever investment you make in any other country where you have identified yourself as a permanent resident or a citizen of the United States be also reported, so that IRS, FATCA can also get money from wherever you have invested in Kenya. And people thought they were getting away with it until they started racing. I'll talk about Kenya because that's what I know. Until they started getting some forms from Equity and other banks telling them, hey, this money was held into your bank, but the US government has taken the money, because you never reported in your taxes that you made any other money in a foreign country. Please talk to your tax experts, the people that you're talking to when you're doing your taxes, if you have foreign investments or you have other investments in this country, because when you're filing your citizenship, when these questions come and ask you, do you have any other investments in the other country? And you say no, because you don't want to pay taxes, Then all of a sudden we find that later, remember, your citizenship can always be stripped. I think it's important to remember that. It can always be stripped purely based on taxation. A lot of people who have gone, big names who have gone to jail in this country, it is not because they killed somebody. It is not because they did something wrong. It is purely because of taxes. Taxes have all your information. If somebody is filing your taxes, please make sure you know them. They know what they are doing, and please do not share just your information, because you don't know how they complete your taxes. You don't know what they claim in your taxes until 5 years later when you're filing your citizenship or you're doing other things that require you to prove your taxes, is when you're captured with all these things. If you have questions, I'll post my number there, and I'll put I work with Superior Financial. You can always ask me those questions and I'll be more than happy to answer those. Like I said, I don't do individual taxes, but I'll be more than happy to answer anything else that pertains to taxation and financial aspect, credit, but my strength is more money matters in IRA and 401k, those areas. Thank you, Geoffrey.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Sebastian. I think that is, you've really summarized it very well. And I think I'm going to be fair to say that it's hard to remember everything that is being said today. We've recorded this. We're going to try to share the link so you can always take your time to go through it, and maybe if along the discussion also, as the presenters are going on, if you have a question, we have a chat there that you can be able to share. But before we go to the questions, there are a few things that I would also wanted to highlight that related to what has been shared. That if you're very new in the country and you're trying to settle, most of the challenges that you go through is maybe you don't have insurance, you don't know where to go for the hospital. That information we always have now. There is a chart that we have put together that connects you with some of the resources. And if you have, if you don't have insurance, we have partnership with Casa de Salud. There you can go for appointment for any kind of screening or any kind of help that you need. But also now they're doing the mental health. If you have kids that needs dental, and I think that's for the new family. A lot of kids who come, they have challenges with dental care. We also have a partnership with the Casa de Salud and BJC, where they can be able to be seen for free. And then on women health, a lot of people, they need mammogram, pap smear. We have partnership with St. Louis University. That where they do mammogram and health screening, and also at Massey Hospital. They do that for women as long as you're older than 40 years and above. And that one you are entitled for an annual checkup, which is free also. Zellipah talked about opening accounts. We have been working with First Community, where you can be able to get that secured credit card. And now Midwest Bank Center, actually we had a meeting with them on 2 days ago, and they're willing to take any of you who will want to start opening the accounts and also building their credit. They're ready. We have a contact person there. We can connect you. And then Zellipah talked about housing. I know Catherine is in the forum. Are you there, Catherine Karangi? If you're there, there are those people who are trying to get into the housing. Do you need a house? Beyond housing is also another area. There is a class that you go through with them, and you're entitled for a free, what they call closing cost grant. They give up to $5,000 if you qualify based on your income. And I think if you're very new, you may be likely qualified. On the driver's license, when you're very new, most of the people, you have to go take a driver's test. First, you have to take a written test. It's a book that you get and you go read. You can either get some reading on yourself at the online. And then you go, there are 20 or 25 questions you can do a test. Or you can do, Zellipah, thank you so much. Better Family Life, they also have that class. And also, something shelter St. Louis, beyond, there is a shelter in St. Charles. They're doing also that. So we have those information on the note that you can also go through. So for the driver's test, you do a written test. You can do either on a paper or on the computer, and then after that, when you pass, you get a permit, and then with that permit, now you can train. You can learn to drive. You can be allowed to be on the road, but you have to be somebody to train you. So right now we're trying to get somebody to help connect the new families who can help, but also with the people in the neighborhood, like Zellipah said, reach out, know people. A lot of people are willing to spare their time to train you to drive. After you do the driving, you do your parallel experience, then you can go and do the test for the road test. And after the road test, now you are free to be able to drive on your own. I know driving is a priority. Those who are also very new and you're looking for a place to buy a house, a car, we have a partnership with another group, dealer that can help you start with a reasonable car to get you started. And you can finance or you can buy cash, maybe depending on the amount of the car that you want. But we always recommend start with a new car. Not a very new car, not a very expensive car. Because you're also building your experience on the road. And normally when you are very new, there are a lot of scratch and dents along the way. So you don't want to scratch and dent and ruin your very new car. But also with the driver's insurance, it affects you if you have more accident on the road. So the more accident you have, more likely you get a high premium on your driver's insurance, on your car insurance. So we always recommend that if you can be able to take care of that, and also don't buy a very expensive car because it's going to be expensive on your insurance, and then also the fact that you're a new driver, there's also some cost that comes with that. On the citizenship and immigration, we provide some classes also, and we also guide you on those who want to do the citizenship and immigration. Those who, after 5 years, you are eligible to apply for your citizenship, but it also counts on that if the number of days you've been out of the country, they are deducted from the number of years you've been here. So you've been out for the country for more than, they calculate the total. The more every time you go, those are days they count. At the end, then they have to take the deduction of how many days you've been out of the country towards the 5 years you've been here. From the years you've been here. So remember to mark down every time you leave and the day you come, because we will need that information when you're filing your citizenship. And if you're also petitioning for your relatives, family member, we also have some provision on how we can walk you through and guide you on that. Like Sebastian said, because you're gonna file for your citizenship, some of the things you need to take care of it is your taxes. Other things you need to avoid is to be any kind of felonies, domestic violence, a lot of things that comes with it. We always say that this country is different when it comes to domestic violence. Women has rights and everybody has their rights, so take care of it. And if you're married, chances are that there are some few conflicts that comes in because of culture and the fact that also they're here, everybody is working. People making they have different hours of work. There are some things that as a man you would actually have to adjust. We find that the environment will maybe find you're home with the kids. Wife is working 2-3 jobs. They can be hungry. Your sink cannot be full of dirty dishes when you're in the house. There are things that we always say, depending on you and your wife, how you agree on that, have a conversation, because some of those small little things are the one who build up, and then we have some conflicts, and especially for new families that are here. So if you're married, and I would want to have a conversation in person to be able to help you, give you some details about that. On the Sebastian also mentioned about when you have an account in Kenya There are forms that you have to fill as a requirement with the US government. Even for those who've been here for a long time, I know a lot of people, their accounts were closed and the money was taken out because they had not filled up the paperwork that we had been telling people to fill. So that is something you need to take care of it. And then I think I don't know, I was just summarizing some of the basics information that people will need to know. If you're very new, when you're filing your, you're looking for the insurance, obviously there are things that you're going to talk to your employer. That is something that I would say, if you have a question, you can reach out to me, I can walk you through. And also maybe where you can be able to get help in terms of the insurance, the healthcare right now as you wait for your, if it's something that is really needed to be taken care of, we have great places we can recommend for you so that you don't have to wait until you get insurance for you to be seen by a doctor. Other than that, now I will open up for people to ask questions. I'll open up. All you just do is just unmute yourself and ask question, or anybody in the audience can actually share anything that maybe would feel like would be helpful or relevant to the people that are very new in the country. Open for questions. And I was checking on the forum here if there is any question that I can talk to. Okay. Yeah, Zali said that get your records in order, pay your bills on time, build your credit. And if you have a question about credit history, that's something that is new to so many people, you can always reach out to Sebastian or Zali or Solomon or myself. Yeah, that's good. I think Solomon has also shared his contact there. Sebastian say no needs for refunds at the end of the year. Get your paycheck larger, and then you can use your money. The time value of money for those who did have some real economics. And then we talked about better family life, beyond farm housing, and MHDC. And I think there is a lot of resources also with the banks. I think banks has a lot of information they can. And then right now we have another group that is called Catherine. Catherine, are you there? Catherine Karangi? I see you there. Okay. Anybody with the questions before we don't lock out anybody?
Yes.
Yes.
Can I?
Zelly, let Zelly says, and then I will get back to you, Doctor. And then Dr. Loma, you can come in. Zelly, what did you go ahead?
Yes, I wanted to mention something that all of us have talked about getting information and equipping yourself information. And this is something that is not trivial in the US. There's all sources of information, yet there is no information because by nature, where we come from, we are used to asking, did you hear? Did you see? Did you? But here, people's interests are different from yours. Your neighbors have totally different interests than yours. They want to talk about hunting when you are talking about taking your kid to elementary school. So when we talk about equipping yourself with information, we are talking about you, the immigrant, getting out of your way, getting out of your comfort zone to get connected and get the right information that you need for yourself. For example, if you need information about school, call the schools, visit the schools, or go to the website, and don't rely on your neighbor because they don't know. They may not even know what you're asking because needs are very different. And if there's anything that is challenging in this country is getting information, yet there's a lot of information available, but getting the right information for you and your needs and where you are in life, it's something that you have to be very, very, very calculative and go look for information yourself the right way.
That is very true. That is true. And you mentioned something also that I forgot actually to mention is that in addition to all this that has been shared, we do have normally do information sessions where you will be able to log in and have different speakers. You will be able to talk about different topics. And if you're able to hear that, get that information as early as now, it's good for you. We also have programs for the youth. We have youth mentorship programs for the kids who are very new in the country. They are struggling to understand or navigate the education system. We have a program that you can enroll your kids as early as third grade all the way to college. Right now, we have a program that is going on with Washington University on college readiness, but also on public speaking. We have a program that is going on right now on computer coding, where we have a group that helps them to get skills in computer code in coding, but also get free computers. I think so far we have around 90 kids that have received free laptops. The other thing we also do is connecting the youth to different leadership positions and leadership skills in St. Louis. There are different programs that are running that different organization runs around St. Louis, and we are able to connect our youth into those programs. For the youth, they also meet once a month, and they have different speakers tackling different topics. And the other group that they're also doing is related to their leadership empowerment is actually their trip to Africa. So there's a group of 15 kids, high school kids, going to Kenya in June this year, and they are doing some fundraising to go to Kenya and do something. Part of it is yes, they will help there, but there's also a lot of learning they do when they are out there. So if you have kids, feel free to reach out to me. And then we also have a chat, a WhatsApp group that we use to communicate and disseminate information of what's happening around. One thing I would say, when you're new, don't isolate yourself. It's not about the money, but also having people that know where you are. We've had people who get sick. They're in the home. They've been in the house, or some of them pass away in the house, and nobody knows for weeks. Nobody knew where they existed or whatever. At least have 10 to 15 people that you check on with them once in a while, and also you also check them and they check you. So just in case you're sick or something happened, and or even just having that social network. Social network is very important for you. Like Zeli or Jen said at the beginning, you may feel like a little bit isolated, is because maybe you don't have a lot of friends, but have built some network of friends that you can always call upon and have out the way you hang out with in a different way. I think Dr. Loom wanted to say something.
Yeah, I just want to say simply again, and I hope I could have discussed this with you offline, but for the benefit of all of us, I think I've been blessed. And please take this in the spirit of African unity and global unity. So I've been blessed practically to have visited through my job every country in Africa. And I love Africans. I say this to commend your good work. I mean, this is super good. And you know my love for you and this program. The only thing I would say, because these are such useful, super useful information, that it should not be contextualized, but it should be broad and wide. That's only been my concern. And I know you love Africa as I do. Africa is in my blood. I will sacrifice myself for Africa. I go back to Jomo Kenyatta, Awolowo, and those founders. So because you have such a super program, I just want it to be broadened so that many other community can benefit. Maybe they realize it and they don't, and that will be their fault, and they're losing out if they don't tune in. So that would be my concern, that this, your program, that are so super useful, be broadened. Secondly, you're such a busy man, and I hope you can text me and promise me to do that after this program, your mobile phone, because I've tried so many times to reach you, but I'm unable. So please promise, and I hold you accountable.
I'm going to give you a call after this. Nobody else will call, will talk. I'll talk to you before I talk to you.
Yeah, so
I apologize
congratulations.
for that.
Congratulations. Keep it going. You are, if I have my way, I will let President Biden honor you for your concern. Thank you. Super good. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Loom, and we appreciate you. I think we all work as a team, and you're also doing a good job. So thank you also for the great work you're doing. I will, Catherine, you were there. I called you, and then I will invite the new people that are very new people to share something, and then we'll just call it to an end. Catherine, I know you're very new. You want to share some of your journey and some of the things that you've learned along the way?
Oh yeah, thank you, Jeff, for this opportunity. Actually, I want to say that this is the best forum that I got into. Sometimes people will tell you, okay, when I was very new, I'm about 3 years. I'll be 3 years on Saturday. I'll be 3 years. Okay, thank you. So, but when I came here and we had trouble getting our daughter to school, I mentioned to somebody that I want to go to V4A to try and see whether I can get help. But the answer that I got was somehow not good. But later I met a friend and I love him so much and told him that I'm looking for school for my daughter. And he said, trust V4A. Trust V4A. And we started a journey with Jeff, and we thank God that we are where we are today. When I came here, one thing I knew in my mind, I knew that I'm not going to be a nurse because I'm not called a nurse. And I knew I'm a preacher, an Anglican preacher, and I knew I'm not going to start a church to get rich, but I wanted to get rich. And so when I went to Geoffrey and shared with him whom I am and what I think I need to do, back home I wanted to do computer science, computer technology, computer IT. I needed computer with me. And so I talked to Jeff and I told him, I know I'm not a nurse. I know I am a preacher, but I'm not starting a church to get rich. But I would love to do something related to computer. And Jeff introduced me to a college. And for the last 1 year, I've been in school, but I've graduated. I'm now looking for a job. I've done coding.
Good job.
Thank you, Jeff. You've participated in all this. Again, a time came and we felt that we are ready now to have a house. And because I had some information with Geoffrey Soyantex, we went to him and he connected us. And right now, we are in our own house. We were able to get a house before we are 3 years. So it is possible. And like Zellipah said, and Sebastian have said, your records have to be right. You have to pay your rent in time, and you have to start building your credit at the right time. I remember when we were in the host's house, he was about reluctant to give us about the credit, but I really know now you need to have it immediately as you start to earn. Get started building your credit. And if you need any information, don't hesitate to go to this man called Geoffrey. He is so kind with the information, and you'll never miss your way when you look the information from the right people. I appreciate this forum. Anytime I have a chance, I like supporting it and doing much about this program because it has helped me. Thank you, Geoffrey.
Thank you, Catherine. It's great to hear some of the great testimonies that you share, and I feel humbled. And I would say it's not me. I think I want to put it out that it's not me. Like you can see a lot of people sharing a lot of stuff here. It's a great team that works out, that I've been working with B4A. I could say before it was me, but I think now we have a great team. A lot of people have come out and say, you know what? I can also make an impact. I can also do something. And I think because of that, we have made great progress. And because of that, we're able to reach out and impact more people. So as you also knew, if you also feel like you can be able to make an impact or be part of this, we welcome anybody to whatever you're good at, the area that you're very good at, we want to open up that opportunity to be able to give your part and be a blessing to others, to tap your blessings. Also, if you want to support, we're non-profit, so we survive on donations. So we also welcome for your donations. If anyone would want to do that and support, and I think because of that, your support, we're able to reach out and impact more people. But also, like Catherine said, talking about it, sharing with other people. It's hard for me to talk and people tell me what I do. Because like I said, I'm not doing it to also be rich, but I think if there's something that you feel like can be helpful, I would want to talk about B4A. Sell the concept of B4A, not the individual, because I don't want to get any credit. I want that when something goes on right, I can say it happened because Zellipah did this. It has helped because Sebastian helps because so also have done this, and because of the team, we have a very great progress in our community. Like I said, I'm gonna give call a few people who are very new in the country, and they can share their experiences, and maybe if they have a question or something they want to say, it is good for people to hear that. What has been your experience in the last few days? Yeah, so Lillian, or is that Lillian? Yeah, Lillian, can you hear me? Lillian or Anne?
Jeff, I can hear you.
Okay, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lillian. I'm the second last oldest here. I came with Annie, who came before me. Then there's Rispa, who's actually the last born in the group. We are so far very grateful for this team. You have really helped us to settle. As per now, we lack nothing because you have provided all that we needed, which we are very grateful for. So far, most of us are waiting to get the driving permit. Annie already has one. So it's about the challenges of driving around, getting to know around, getting a car to drive around so that we are eligible for that driving license. But so far, we are good. Thank you so much.
Good. Thank you so much, Lillian, for also the great work you're doing, coordinating. I hear there is also another family that is coming up next week.
Yeah.
So thank you for stepping up. I think you came in and you stood up and you're doing a great job. Is Anne there? Are you there, Anne?
I'm here.
Yeah, say hi to people. Oh, I can see the boy is up.
Yeah, the boy is up. That's why we've been off video and mute. Say hello to everybody.
Hi, Big Ben.
Hi.
Yeah, it's good.
Hush, 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 hush. Okay, my name is Annie or Mama Mac. If you like to call me that way, it's still fine. I was the one who came here first in South County during winter. I almost cried in this house with the little one. But when I called, I remember when I called someone from Kenya who connected me to people in Missouri. The next, maybe within 5 hours, there were people here in my house ready to help us. And if I didn't call out for help, if I didn't cry out for help, I don't think I knew. I knew there were Kenyans in Missouri, but I didn't know where to start. All I can say is thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Thank you, Joyfree, and may God bless you all. And we look forward to being. We are already part of the family of African in St. Louis, and pray for us so that we can continue being part of the family. Thank you so much, and we really appreciate you. Thank you for the good work.
Thank you, Anne. Thank you, Anne. I see that Mr. President needs some attention. That is good. And just to mention for those who are in the forum, if you know babysitter or nanny somewhere we are looking for that cute boy there. He needs somebody to take care when the mommy starts going to work. Other than that, I would say anybody there who have a question or a comment, I will give this 3 minutes for us to close. Is it Grace? Grace, are you there?
Maybe one thing I can bring up real quick.
Sure. Sebastian, go ahead.
This is now in probably from a very different heart, is for the participants and people who are in V4A. V4A is a Pass It Forward organization. I kindly, I'm also a board member in V4A. And a lot of things that you see that are given out there, it's a not-for-profit organization. And we have a lot of programs that also feature in terms of donations and how you can contribute towards V4A. There are a lot of organizations here that we participate in and we contribute and donate to. All the resources that you give V4A, I would say they're probably 90% to 100% to be directed to the people who need them. We don't have a lot of overheads in V4A in terms of the resources and how we use the funds when they're directed to us. Our overhead are very minimal. So when you give to V4A, I can tell you without a shadow of doubt that almost 90 to 100% resources go direct to the people who need it. We actually positioned to do a wonderful job. And I'll tell you this without a shadow of doubt. The organization is positioned to even do better. There are some constraints that are brought by financial aspects. If you are out there or you know anybody who would like to contribute to V4A and you need information or you need somebody to walk you through to explain the vision and how our contribution works, I'm sure Geoffrey does send a lot of information to people there. But I'd like you also, when we participate in this information, to follow up with us and just know how you can also help. Sometimes you don't know somebody directly that you can give help to, but if you use this as a platform to direct those resources, we'll always get them to where they want, where they're supposed to be, especially with the youth, women empowerment, and also these other programs like the settlement for new people here. And also this helps us to bring up you who are also very knowledgeable in terms of the resources that you need. We can put better forums with the people for housing, like with Zellipah, so that she can also be able to access information that otherwise would cost money for her to access. V4A can be able to meet some of those basic charges that are needed. So for us to stay going, for the doors to stay wide open, I think V4A has to get some financial help. Otherwise, as of now, we strain on just on one person moving from side to side. You use Geoffrey entirely to exhaustion, which is also very expensive in the sense that he also has other things that he does. So please, after this meeting, if you have never contributed to V4A, kindly, if you are able, if you're willing and able, please reach out to us. We will really appreciate that kind of help. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much, Sebastian, for that closing remark. Appreciate it so much. There is a question here. Somebody is asking, can we be able to visit the new families? I think, somebody is asking that question.
Sure, they are more than welcome. They're welcome anytime.
Great, great. Yeah, I've been there a couple of times, and I appreciate the hospitality and the great work that you. I didn't hear Rispa. Is Rispa still there? I think I saw her on the audience, but I think shortly. But I think good, good. And if there's nothing else or nobody has any other closing point, Zali, you have anything you want to close to us before we close out?
No, I think it's all good. I think there's only one question that I don't think you got into there. Something to do with the driver's license.
What's the question?
What is the question?
The question is.
Oh, I see it. Yeah. Okay.
What is it?
It says if one. Go ahead, Zellipah.
No, go ahead, so you can answer.
Okay. If one is here for a short period of time, are they eligible for a driver's license or a state ID? If one is eligible, does it mean you have to keep renewing it every time you come over? I think if before you even apply for a document here, always ask yourself, why do I need the document? And am I eligible? To be eligible for a driver's license here means you have to have a social. Do you have a social? I think that's very important. If you have a social, then chances are you're very eligible to get either state ID or a driver's license. If you don't renew your driver's license, and it goes past 6 months, you always have to do the test again, irrespective of how long you've lived in this country, whether it's 30 years. If your driver's license expires, it expires on your birthday. If it goes past your birthday for more than 6 months, you actually have to go back like a new person to the driving class. You take the driving class again and you have to pass it. So you have to keep renewing it. But if you do not, it's all about the paperwork and the legality of your paperwork and what you have, especially the state of Missouri. Other states, and we are talking about the state of Missouri here. And I want you to know that this is state controlled. It's not a federally controlled activity. So driver's license, and I think beginning October, they are now trying to make our driver's license also a federal ID, meaning that it has to be acceptable to other states, meaning the more deeper they go into your information. That means that after October, it will be very hard for you to get a federally accepted identification, which is a driver's license or an ID, if your paperwork is not right. Right means that it has not been cleared by ICE or the immigration department. That's why when you apply for a driver's license here, there's the paperwork they ask you for with your green card or permanent residency, or a paperwork just showing why you're here. That is it. It's a complex situation. So ask yourself what paperwork you have. I always say, if you want to know all that information, trust me, if you work to the DMV, they will tell you where you fall. If you do not work to DMV, give us a call. And when, I'm sure some of the things you don't want to disclose what you have or whatever information you have there, call V4A. We'll find out what you have, what kind of paperwork you have. If you need legal advice, we'll send you to one of the lawyers that we use. If not, then we'll answer the question based on that. But if you live in this state and you have the right paper, it's important to have an ID. If you leave the country and you go away for more than 6 months or your driver's license expired, then you have to renew it.
That is good. I think you've really answered it. And I think the other part is, if you have that personal questions, that's what I think it maybe depends on how the status that you are here. Feel free to reach out to me. I will also put my number there. I can help. If I don't have the answer, I can direct you where to find the answer. But that's a good question. So any other part? I think we are past the time, but I think it was good for us. It was worth us to go past that so that we can cover those important questions.
Maybe for Anne, for Anne, I think people asked if they can visit and all that. Instead of sharing the address, just share your phone number so that people can talk to you in terms of coming. I think another important information, and I think Zellipah mentioned here, there is what we call records. There's something called the internet in America. It does not forget. Whatever you put in there, it never forgets. So if you like to visit her, probably just share your phone number. People can call you, then you can have a conversation and make arrangements on who can come to your place as opposed to just putting your address.
Yes. And I think you mentioned something that I wanted to talk about, the identity theft. There is a lot of, if you're very new and you put a lot of your information online, Like now, there is a lot of things going on. People calling you, they're telling you Social Security is at stake. I mean, there is a danger. If you don't call now, you will be reported to FBI. So there is a lot of those scams people call, and a lot of people have had call me. They've given their information. They say, I gave our information, I gave my card, and now a couple of money have been taken off the account of their account. So be aware of those. Nobody will call you from Social Security asking you for your information of your bank information. And if they do, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. Actually, to be precise, the IRS does not call you unless you instructed them to call you. The Social Security does not call you unless you instructed them to call you. And share this with your friends. If anybody calls you and identifies themselves from that and you didn't ask them to call you, then they're most likely from some funny places.
Yes.
Sorry for the interruption.
No, that's good.
Masai, I just want to say something, and this is on a very light note because I have to jump out here, that for those who are new, and you heard Sebastian say that he wanted to go home in 5 years, and I wanted to go home in 2 years, and I haven't gone. There's people who go home. So if your plan is to come and be here for 3 years and go home, there's people who've gone home. And if you want to know why we are still here and haven't gone home, kindly call me. I'll be happy to tell you why I'm still here and haven't gone home.
We are still going. We are trying. You know. I'm waiting for Zellipah because she was to go before me. So the day she leaves, then I'll follow the example. I'm 22 years old here now.
All right. That's a good heads up that you know what's coming. But I think that's good. If you receive a call and you feel very suspicious, don't give out your information. Don't give out your Social Security. Don't put your Social Security on the internet as just for people that you don't know. Don't give out your credit card information or bank information for people you don't know. If you have a question, reach out to me and I will be able to guide you. I know there is a person that I helped actually a week ago when they were just about to give out the information. And when we talked, and I realized actually they were giving out the information to a scam. But I'm glad that at least they were able to take a chance and reach out. We have somebody who actually lost $5,000 on the same. So I know they called me and I can easily tell and I just cut it off. But for somebody who doesn't know, it's very, very, very likely that you can be easily scammed when you don't know what to do. So just hang in the phone, can reach out to us, and if they really something seriously, nobody will punish you, even if it's anything that was genuine. Nobody will punish you because you didn't respond within a day. Other than that, I think thank you so much. I think this has been the most productive meeting, and I'm sure you will be able to remember this. We recorded it. We're going to share for the people who are here, and you can also share for the people who are not here. Lillian, I understand there are a couple of people who are coming, so you can feel free to share with the chat group that you have. That way they can be able to know before they come. And for those who are coming, when they come, they may need some mattress, some couches and the stuff. We always ask people to let us, when we find out what they need, take a picture of what you have and we share with the people who are looking for that, because we also don't want to dump into things that maybe they may not need. So we always ask for that connection, that communication between us and the people who are receiving the items. And thank you so much. Appreciate for your time. You have a good one. Enjoy the rest of the Sunday.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much to our speakers and always being there whenever we call you.
Thank you, Deb, for having us.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anne. I appreciate for all the great work you're doing. And Lillian.
Thank you.
Good. Say hi to Rispa.
I will.
and her husband.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much.
My name is Nicholas Ngige.
My name is Sebastian.
I am Patavi. I'm Grace Mary Nganga. I'm Ruth.
Diane Stevenson.
Jen Magadi.
Smuka Dewa.
Christina Vivet.
Safi Uzaye.
Jaja Uizaye.
Agatha Kinethia.
Faiza.
Dr. John Mwangi.
My name is DeAndrea Weeks, and I am with Virginia for Africa.
I am with Nintendo for Africa. I am with Nintendo for Africa. And I am with
Nintendo for Africa.
I am with.
I'm with.
I am with.
I am with Nintendo for Africa.